So, good morning students. My name is Ramanamurthy, Zoology faculty from Vijayawada. Today we are going to discuss human reproduction. This is very crucial topic in NEET point of view. In final NEET examination, from this human reproduction topic, at least 3 to 4 questions will be given. That's why this is very crucial. While reading, you should be very careful. And this topic includes mostly conceptual topics. In the final NEET examination also, concept based questions, assertion reasoning questions, statement type of questions, multiple statement questions, and match the following. So every type of questions will be given. So mostly in previous NEET examination, statement type of questions, assertion reasoning questions given in previous NEET examination. In coming 2026 NEET examination also, we are expecting assertion reasoning questions, statement type of questions from human reproduction. In the final NEET examination from this human reproduction topic, at least 3 to 4 questions will be given. Definitely 3 to 4 questions. Minimum 3 questions, maximum 4 questions will be given from human reproduction. So each and every line is important in human reproduction, but today we have to discuss only important areas, ambiguities and interlinking concepts in this human reproduction topic. So this human reproduction topic includes, male reproductive system, female reproductive system, gametogenesis. Gametogenesis means spermatogenesis and oogenesis, menstrual cycle, fertilization and implantation, pregnancy, parturition and lactation. So these are the important areas, important topics in human reproduction. Human reproduction includes several important events. The first important event is gametogenesis, the process of formation of gametes. Next, insemination. This is the second step in human reproduction. After gametogenesis, insemination takes place. After insemination, fertilization takes place. After fertilization, formation and development of blastocyst. And after formation of blastocyst, the attachment of blastocyst to the wall of uterus, that is implantation. After implantation, gestation, and finally parturition. The process of childbirth is called as parturition. So what are the correct sequence of events in human reproduction is gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization, followed by the, after fertilization, formation of blastocyst, after blastocyst formation, implantation, after implantation, gestation, next parturition. This is the final step, correct sequence of events. Next, what is the difference between reproductive phase of males and females? In males, spermatogenesis begins at puberty and continue till the end of life, up to 70 to 80 years. But in females, oogenesis begins in embryonic stage and it stops by the age of 50 years. That stoppage of menstrual cycle in females is called as menopause. So men have long reproductive phase when compared to women. In males, spermatogenesis begins from childhood, continued up to old age. This is wrong statement. It is not begins from childhood. It begins at puberty at the age of 13 or 14 years, continues till the end of life in case of males. But in females, the oogenesis stops by the age of 50 years. This is a very important difference. That's why men have long reproductive phase when compared to women or females. This is an important difference. Next, male reproductive system. And this male reproductive system of human beings Male reproductive system of human beings includes a pair of testes which are located at the outside the abdomen in a pouch. That pouch is called as a scrotum. Here, this is very important point is each testis in human beings, each testis in human beings contains 250 compartments called as testicular lobules. Both the testis contains how many testicular lobules is 500. So number of testicular lobules in male reproductive system of human beings is 500. Each testicular lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. So each testicular lobule contains 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. Total number of seminiferous tubules in both the testes of male reproductive system is 500 to 1500. This is also very important. So total number of testicular lobules in male reproductive system is 500. Each testis contains 250 testicular lobules, and number of seminiferous tubules in both the testes of male reproductive system in human beings is 500 to 1500 seminiferous tubules present in both the testes of male reproductive system. So this is very important question in a NEET point of view. So this question also very important. Next, students, one more important topic is in NCERT textbook, the male germ cells, they have mentioned the male germ cells undergo meiotic division, finally leading to sperm formation. So suppose in a final NEET examination, if this statement is given directly, that is correct. But as per standard books, first the male germ cells means spermatogonia. The male germ cells spermatogonia first undergoes mitotic division, then that leads to formation of primary spermatocyte, and that primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 1 or reductional division that leads to formation of secondary oocyte. So according to standard books, which stage of spermatogenesis undergoes meiosis 1 is primary spermatocyte, undergoes meiosis 1 or reductional division and divided into haploid secondary spermatocyte. But according to NCERT textbook, the male germ cells undergo meiotic division and finally leads to sperm formation is given. So as this statement is given in NEET examination, that is correct. But which stage of spermatogenesis undergoes meiosis 1 or reductional division means primary spermatocyte, which is diploid, contains 46 chromosomes. That primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 1 and divided into two haploid secondary spermatocytes. That you should remember. And each seminiferous tubule contains two type of cells. One is male germ cells, other one is serotolith cells. Each seminiferous tubule contains male germ cells and serotolith cells. Serotolith cells also called as nurse cells. They are also called as nurse cells. They provide nourishment to the developing sperms. Leydig cells are present outside the seminiferous tubule in interstitial space. This is very important. Leydig cells which help in secretion of testicular hormones, that is androgens. Here one more point you should remember. What is that point is? Testis produces only steroid hormone. That is wrong statement. Testis produces steroid hormone, testosterone. That is okay. Testis, the serotolith cells in testis also produces a glycoprotein hormone known as inhibin. So that is you should remember. So testis produces steroid hormone, testosterone, and also produces a glycoprotein hormone, inhibin. So this is also you should remember, students. Next, one more important point is The male sex accessory ducts. The male sex accessory duct includes reed testes, vas afferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. These are the male sex accessory ducts. This male sex accessory ducts function, what is the function is, these ducts here is given. These ducts, here these ducts refers to reed testes, vas afferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. These ducts store and transport the sperms from testes to outside through urethra. Here these ducts refers to male sex accessory ducts, that is reed testes, vas afferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. This is very important. These ducts store the sperms and transport the sperms from the testes to outside through the urethra. This point also should be very careful, students. Next, one more important point is the epididymis leads to vas deferens that ascends to abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. Epididymis leads to vas deferens that ascends to abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. Here you should remember epididymis opens into vas deferens. Epididymis is the extra testicular duct which is present outside the testes, not inside the testes. It is present outside the testes, extra testicular duct, epididymis and vas deferens. And one more point is it receives a duct from seminal vesicle and opens into urethra as ejaculatory duct. Here it refers to vas deferens. So in 2023 NEET examination, they had given this question, statement type of question. It refers to vas deferens receives a duct from seminal vesicle and opens into urethra as ejaculatory duct. That means ejaculatory duct is formed by joining of vas deferens and duct of seminal vesicle. Vas deferens and duct of seminal vesicle join and form into ejaculatory duct, and that ejaculatory duct opens into urethra. Urethra opens to outside through penis. This you should remember. So this is very crucial. Next, another important point in male reproductive system is the penis. The penis in male reproductive system acts as a male external genitalia. It is made up of a special tissue that help in erection of penis to facilitate insemination. So penis is made up of a special tissue, erectile tissue. Special tissue, erectile tissue. This is very important when we observe the transverse section of penis. This penis contains two dorsal cylindrical columns known as corpora cavernosa. Corpora cavernosa, and ventral, this is called as corpus spongiosum. Corpus spongiosum. So total 3 longitudinal cylindrical columns present inside the testes. So penis is made up of special tissue. Special tissue means upper 2 corpora cavernosa and lower corpus spongiosum. 3 longitudinal columns present inside the penis make the penis erectile and stiff during sexual intercourse. And this corpus spongiosum help in formation of a structure known as glans penis. So which structure of penis form into glans penis means corpus spongiosum. The corpus spongiosum enlarged at the tip of penis formed into glans penis, and this glans penis, the enlarged end of penis covered by a loose skin known as foreskin, also called as prepuce, also called as prepuce. Next, in male reproductive system, male accessory glands also present, which include seminal vesicles, prostate and bulbourethral glands. Secretions of these three glands, that is seminal vesicles, prostate gland and bulbourethral glands. You should remember seminal vesicles are paired, one pair, prostate gland is single, large, unpaired gland, and paired bulbourethral glands. These three gland secretions help in formation of seminal plasma, which is rich of fructose, calcium and certain enzymes, and also contains some other substances like citric acid and prostaglandins also present in seminal plasma. Seminal plasma plus sperms together called as semen or seminal fluid. Seminal plasma is secreted by seminal vesicles, prostate gland and bulbourethral glands. Seminal vesicles contribute 60 to 70%. Prostate gland contributes 15 to 30%. Bulbourethral glands contributes 5 to 10% for the formation of semen in male human beings. So, and the glands, bulbourethral glands secretions help in lubrication of penis. This is also very important. So, prostate gland, this is an unpaired large gland. Removal of prostate gland in males leads to sterility. This is very important. And one more is prostate gland secretions help in activation of sperms, increase the motility of sperms. So, students, this is about the male reproductive system and important areas in male reproductive system. So, next we are going to discuss female reproductive system in human beings. So, female reproductive system also includes several parts like pair of ovaries, oviducts, uterus, cervix, vagina and external genitalia, and also a pair of mammary glands. Here also ovaries are the primary sex organs in females. One more important point is ovaries produces several steroid hormones. Ovaries produces several steroid hormones. So that hormones are estrogen and progesterone. You know what are the ovarian hormones are estrogen, progesterone, both are steroid hormones. Ovary produces only steroid hormones. That is also a wrong statement, because from the ovary a peptide or protein hormone also produced. What is that peptide or protein hormone produced from ovary is relaxin. So this is very important. Next, these parts of female reproductive system along with pair of mammary glands are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and child care or parental care. So this is also very important. So female reproductive system along with the mammary glands help in ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and also child care or parental care. So one more important point is each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which encloses ovarian stroma. Each ovary is covered by thin epithelium. What is that thin epithelium around the ovary is germinal epithelium. So germinal epithelium is the epithelium present over the ovarian stroma, and this germinal epithelium is made up of simple cuboidal epithelium, which is formed by which epithelium is simple cuboidal epithelium. So this point is very important. Each ovary is covered by thin epithelium. What is the name of the thin epithelium which encloses ovarian stroma is germinal epithelium made up of simple cuboidal epithelium. So this point also very important in a female reproductive system. So next remaining the fallopian tube, one pair of fallopian tubes in female reproductive system. Fallopian tubes also called as oviducts, and the fallopian tube contains infundibulum, a wider ampulla and a narrow isthmus. This ampulla region is the site of fertilization. What is the site of fertilization in a female reproductive system is ampulla region. Only ampulla region as per new NCERT textbook. In old NCERT textbooks, ampulla isthmus junction is given, but according to new NCERT textbook, where fertilization takes place is in ampulla region of fallopian tube, one pair of fallopian tubes. So this is the infundibulum, opens into wider ampulla, ampulla opens into isthmus. These are the three important parts present in fallopian tube. Fallopian tubes opens into uterus. Isthmus opens into first part of uterus. This is called as uterine fundus. This is the body of uterus. This is called as cervix. Cervix contains a canal known as cervical canal. Cervical canal opens to outside through vagina. So this uterine fundus, this is the anterior dome-shaped part of uterus. This is very important. Uterine fundus. Fundus is a dome-shaped structure. So which part of fallopian tube opens into fundus is isthmus opens into uterine fundus. This is the body of uterus. This is the cervix. Cervix contains a canal known as cervical canal. Cervical canal opens into vagina. Cervical canal plus vagina both together forms birth canal. This is also an important area. So previous NEET question also given. Cervical canal along with vagina forms birth canal in females. That is the right statement. Statement type of questions given in previous NEET examination. So next, in a female reproductive system, the cavity of cervix, is called as cervical canal. Along with vagina forms birth canal. This is very important. And the wall of uterus made up of three layers: outer perimetrium, middle myometrium, and innermost layer endometrium. Myometrium made up of muscles. Which muscles is smooth muscles. Myometrium in wall of uterus. Myo means muscles, made up of smooth muscles. So it shows contractions during parturition. Endometrium of uterus undergoes cyclic changes during menstrual cycle. So that is very important point. Next, the labia minora, labia majora. These are the flesh folds of folds. So outer one is labia majora, inner one is labia minora. So one more important point is the clitoris. Clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening. This is very important point, students. Clitoris is an erectile structure present at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening. Clitoris is homologous to penis of male. This is very important point. Penis of male and clitoris of female, both are homologous, because clitoris and penis both are made up of a tissue known as corpora cavernosa. So that's why, so both clitoris and penis, same embryonic origin, and also made up of same tissue, that is corpora cavernosa. That's why the clitoris of female is homologous to penis of male. This is very important point. Next, in 2024 NEET examination, this question is also given. Presence or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity. This is the statement type of question given in 2024 NEET examination. This is very important. Statement A, presence or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity. That is statement A. Hymen, the hymen is often torn during first coitus only. This is statement B. This is the question given in 2024 NEET examination. Presence or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity. That is statement A, that is correct statement. Hymen is often torn during the first coitus only. That is statement B, that is wrong. Statement A is true, statement B is false. Because this hymen also ruptured or damaged during sports, cycling. So, sudden fall or jolt, etc. In those conditions also hymen was ruptured. That's why hymen often torn during the first coitus only. So, that statement is wrong. So, you should be very careful while reading these lines in NCERT textbook. So, this is about the female reproductive system important points. Next, mammary glands. Mammary glands. So, this is also very important area in female reproductive system. In female human beings, a pair of functional mammary glands. Pair of functional mammary glands are present in all female mammals. A functional mammary glands is characteristic feature of all female mammals. In male mammals, mammary glands are non-functional. So, functional mammary glands is characteristic feature of all female mammals. This is very important point you should remember. And mammary glands are modification of sweat glands. Mammary glands are the modification of sweat glands in females. One pair of mammary glands. Each mammary gland is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes. This is very important. How many mammary lobes present in each mammary gland or each breast is 15 to 20 mammary lobes. And mammary gland contains alveoli. That alveoli opens into mammary tubules. Mammary tubules opens into mammary ducts. Mammary ducts opens into mammary ampulla. Ampulla opens into lactiferous duct. Lactiferous duct opens into nipple. So, what is the correct sequence of passage of milk in mammary glands of females? This is very important question given in 2024 NEET examination. So, this is the question. So, while attempting this question, you should remember this shortcut AMMAL. So, AMMAL is the shortcut for remembering the correct sequence of flow of milk in mammary glands. Here A refers to alveoli, mammary alveoli. A refers to. M refers to mammary tubules. Mammary tubules. Mammary tubules. Mammary tubules opens into mammary ducts. Mammary ducts. Mammary ducts opens into ampulla, mammary ampulla. Ampulla opens into lactiferous duct. Opens into lactiferous duct. So, that is the meaning of AMMAL. A refers to alveoli, M refers to mammary tubules, another M refers to mammary ducts, A refers to mammary ampulla, L refers to lactiferous duct. Lactiferous duct opens into nipple. So, correct sequence of flow of milk in mammary glands of female human beings. So, 2024 NEET question, re-NEET examination. So, that question is given. So, students, while reading this area is also this point you should remember. So, this is about the male reproductive system and female reproductive systems is completed. So, next important area is gametogenesis. So, gametogenesis includes both spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis and oogenesis, I will explain now in another video, detailed. So, but here, spermatogenesis. In spermatogenesis, this is very important definitions. The process of conversion of spermatids, the process of conversion of spermatids into spermatozoa is called as spermiogenesis. The process of conversion of spermatids into spermatozoa or sperms is called as spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis, what is the other name for spermiogenesis is spermioteliosis. Spermioteliosis, this is the other name for spermiogenesis. What is the difference between spermatids and spermatozoa? Both are haploid. Spermatozoa contains 23 chromosomes. Spermatid is also contains 23 chromosomes. But spermatids are non-motile, non-functional, inactive. The conversion of non-functional, non-motile, inactive spermatids into functional, motile, active sperms is called as spermiogenesis. This is very important statement. Next, another important statement means the process of release of sperms from seminiferous tubules is called as spermiation. This is given in NCERT textbook. The process of release of sperms from seminiferous tubules is called as spermiation. This is given. This is correct. But another definition for spermiation is the process of detachment of sperms from serotolite cells and their release into seminiferous tubules is called spermiation. This is also correct. In 2022 NEET examination, this is given. The process of release of sperms into seminiferous tubule is called spermiation. Correct. In this process, first sperms detached from serotolite cells and releases into seminiferous tubule. That is called as spermiation. Sperms released from seminiferous tubules, that is also called spermiation. Both definitions are correct. So, while reading these lines, these sentences, you should be very careful. So, there are two definitions for spermiation. The process of release, release of sperms from seminiferous tubules is called as spermiation. The process of detachment of sperms from serotolite cells and the release into seminiferous tubules also called spermiation. And this spermatogenesis process required how many days is 64 days approximately. How many days required for the spermatogenesis in male human beings is 64 days. So this is about the spermatogenesis in male human beings. So I will explain in next video detail regarding spermatogenesis. So hormonal control of spermatogenesis, this is also I will explain in another video detail. So here what points you should remember. Here this is very important point. What is that important point is FSH acts on serotolite cells and stimulates secretion of some factors which help in process of spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis is very important. In first year NCERT, Chemical Control and Coordination, they have given FSH help in spermatogenesis is given. This is a generalized statement. But FSH mainly help in spermiogenesis. This is very important statement. Pituitary hormone help in spermatogenesis is FSH. And what is the testicular hormone help in spermatogenesis is testosterone. Both FSH and testosterone help in spermatogenesis. Testicular hormone help in spermatogenesis is testosterone, androgen. Pituitary hormone help in spermatogenesis is FSH. FSH acts on serotolite cells and help in secretion of some factors which help in process of spermiogenesis. This is very important while reading hormonal control of spermatogenesis. Students, next this is the Structure of sperm. So structure of sperm includes head, neck, middle piece and tail. Total length of the sperm is approximately 60 micrometers. Out of 60 micrometers, only length of tail is 50 micrometers. So longest part of sperm is tail. Tail is the longest part. So in head of the sperm, nucleus and acrosome. Acrosome is a cap-like structure formed by modification of Golgi complex. This is one important point. Golgi complex, which produces sperm lysins. Acrosome help in penetration of sperm into ovum during fertilization. And this is the neck. This is the middle piece. Middle piece of sperm contains numerous mitochondria, and mitochondria provides energy for swimming of sperm. This point is also very important. The middle piece of sperm contains numerous mitochondria, and other name for mitochondria is Nebenkerna. This is very important, given in 2016 NEET examination. So middle piece of human sperm contains mitochondria, numerous mitochondria. Other name for middle piece mitochondria is Nebenkerna. You should remember 2016 NEET examination they have given. What is the other name for mitochondria present in middle piece of human sperm is Nebenkerna, which provides energy for swimming of sperm. But swimming is caused by tail. But for swimming of sperm, energy is provided by this mitochondria. So that's why middle piece is called as engine room of the sperm is middle piece, contains numerous mitochondria. So that you should remember. Next, another important point is at the time of sexual intercourse, human male ejaculates 200 to 300 millions of sperms. Out of 200 to 300 millions of sperms, at least 60% sperms must have normal shape and size, and at least 40% of sperms must show vigorous motility. So this point also you should be very careful. So at the time of sexual intercourse, a male human being ejaculates 2 to 3 ml of semen. Out of this 2 to 3 ml of semen, 200 to 300 millions of sperms are present. So out of 200 to 300 millions of sperms, at least 60% must have normal shape and size. That means how much? Out of 200 to 300, 60% means at least 120 to 180 millions. 120 to 180 millions must have normal shape and size. This you should remember. So out of 200 to 300 millions, at least 60%. 60% means 120 to 180 millions of sperms must have normal shape and size. And out of 120 to 180 millions, at least 40% must show vigorous motility. So in 120 to 180 millions, 40% means approximately 48 to 72 millions. 48 to 72 millions must show vigorous motility for normal fertility in males. So this point also you should be very careful. So this is regarding structure of sperm, students. Next important area in human reproduction is oogenesis. Oogenesis, the process of oogenesis also I will explain detailed in next video. But here some important points in oogenesis. What are the important points is oogenesis initiated during the embryonic developmental stage. So this is very important. Oogenesis begins in embryonic stage, but spermatogenesis begins at puberty. That is at the age of 13 or 14 years. but oogenesis begins in embryonic stage. In embryonic stage, from each ovary, a couple of oogonia, that is ova mother cells, are formed. In fetal stage, each ovary produces 2 million oogonia in embryonic stage. These oogonia immediately converted into primary oocyte, in embryonic stage, in fetus stage. So, oogonia formed in embryonic stage, that oogonia transform into primary oocyte in embryonic stage or fetus stage. Both oogonia and primary oocyte formed in fetus stage. And in NCERT textbook, no more oogonia are formed and added after birth. This is very important statement. No more oogonia are formed and added after birth. So after birth, no addition of oogonia. The oogonia transform into primary oocyte. That primary oocyte begins meiosis 1, but growth is arrested in prophase 1 of meiosis 1. But in NCERT textbook, they have given these cells starts division and enter into prophase 1 of meiotic division and get temporarily arrested at that stage called primary oocytes is given. Here, these cells starts division means, so many of the students, they think these cells refers to oogonia. In some books, they have given like that. These cells refers to oogonia. But as per standard medical books, which stage of oogenesis starts meiosis 1 and arrested in prophase 1 of meiosis 1 is primary oocyte. So primary oocytes begins meiosis 1 in embryonic stage, but growth is arrested in prophase 1 of meiosis 1. When females reaches to puberty, then meiosis 1 completed and primary oocyte transform into secondary oocytes at the time of puberty. So which stages starts meiosis 1 and growth is arrested in prophase 1 of meiosis 1 as per standard medical books is primary oocytes. But as per NCERT lines, these cells refers to, most of the students thinking these cells refers to oogonia, but that is not exactly correct. Which cells undergoes meiosis 1, which cells begins meiosis 1 means primary oocyte as per standard medical books, that you should remember. And one more important point is primary follicles. During oogenesis, several primary follicles are formed. That primary follicles contain primary oocyte. From birth to puberty, several primary follicles are degenerate from birth to puberty. The process of degeneration of primary follicles from birth to puberty is called as follicular atresia. Follicular atresia. What is the meaning of follicular atresia? Means several primary follicles are degenerated from birth to puberty. The process of degeneration is called as follicular atresia. Therefore, at puberty, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles left in each ovary. Each ovary contains 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles. So, both ovaries contains how many primary follicles at the time of puberty is 1,20,000 to 1,60,000. Each ovary at the time of puberty contains 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles. So, both ovaries 1,20,000 to 1,60,000 primary follicles. This point is very important. So, primary follicles are surrounded by the many layers of granulosa cells and new theca, and that is called as secondary follicles. and secondary follicles after formation of antrum transform into tertiary follicle. So antrum is the fluid-filled cavity present in tertiary follicle and Graafian follicle. This is very important. Antrum is present in primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, Graafian follicle, primary follicle, Graafian follicle. So this type of questions will be given, but what is the right answer is antrum is present in tertiary follicle and Graafian follicle. That point you should remember. So this primary oocyte present in tertiary follicle. The primary oocyte within tertiary follicle completes meiosis 1 and form into a large secondary oocyte and small first polar body. That is important point. That also you should remember. So one more important point is the secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called zona pellucida. The secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called zona pellucida surrounding it. So zona pellucida is a non-cellular layer. A glycoprotein membrane around the secondary oocyte, secreted by the secondary oocyte. So several layers of cells are present around the secondary oocyte. Immediate non-cellular layer around the secondary oocyte, zona pellucida. Cellular layer present around the secondary oocyte, corona radiata. So that you should remember. So this charts and oogenesis I will explain in next video. So this is about the oogenesis. So next menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle, this is also an important area in female human beings. Average duration of menstrual cycle is 28 days. The beginning of menstrual cycle is called as menarche. Beginning of menstrual cycle is called as menarche, and stoppage of menstrual cycle is called as menopause. Average duration of menstrual cycle is 28 or 29 days. Menstrual cycle occurs only in primate female mammals. Only in primate female mammals menstrual cycle occurs. In non-primate female mammals, non-primates, what cycle occurs is estrous cycle. So estrous cycle occurs in non-primates female mammals. That point also very important, you should remember, given in 2022 NEET examination. So estrous cycle is observed in non-primates female mammals. Next, this is an important area in menstrual cycle. So this diagram is very useful and very careful while you are reading. Diagram based questions also will be given in final NEET examination. So this is the hormones, pituitary hormones during different phases of menstrual cycle. So this is the FSH, this is the LH, but you should remember FSH and LH reaches to peak level in the middle of menstrual cycle, that is 14th day. So out of this FSH and LH, which is more peak, that is LH, that peak of LH is called as LH such. This is very important point, you should remember. And follicles also, this is a primary follicle, secondary follicle, so tertiary follicle and mature follicles, Graafian follicles. Graafian follicles are matured by the day 13th or 14th day. The formation of Graafian follicle occurs. At the 14th day of menstrual cycle, ovulation occurs, rupture of Graafian follicle and ovulation occurs. And 15th day, corpus luteum, yellow color structure is formed, and this corpus luteum lifespan in non-pregnant women is 14 days. That is fixed. In pregnant women, what is the lifespan of corpus luteum is 3 to 4 months. So when womb is not fertilized, corpus luteum is degenerated into a white color scale known as corpus albicans. This point also you should remember. So this is the concentration of ovarian hormones. In first 5 days, this estrogen progesterone levels are less. And during proliferative phase, estrogen is more when compared to progesterone. At the 14th day of menstrual cycle, estrogen is more when compared to progesterone. Again, just before menstruation, that is 25th or 26th day, again this progesterone levels are rises. Generally, in luteal phase, progesterone levels are rises, estrogen levels are less. And again, just before menstruation, before bleeding, this estrogen levels again rises and progesterone levels are decreasing. Why progesterone levels are decreasing in 27th or 28th day? Due to degeneration of corpus luteum. Progesterone levels decreases, estrogen levels increases. So this also you should remember very carefully. So 14th day of menstrual cycle, which hormones levels are peak? LH and also estrogen. These two are very peak. That point you should remember. So next, why blood did not clot during the 5 days, first 5 days of menstruation? Due to presence of an enzyme. What is that enzyme? Is fibrolysin. Due to presence of an enzyme, fibrolysin, blood does not clot inside the female genital tract during menstruation. This point also very important. So next, one more important point is lack of menstruation. Lack of menstruation may be an indicator of pregnancy. Lack of menstruation may be an indicator of pregnancy. This is very important point. Sometimes lack of menstruation is also due to stress or health problems, etc. But in a normal, regular, healthy woman, lack of menstruation is an indication of pregnancy. This is very, very important point. And first 5 days of menstrual cycle is menstrual phase. 6th day to 13th day is called as proliferative phase, because proliferation of endometrium occurs, regeneration of endometrium in the wall of uterus occurs. That's why that is called as proliferative phase, also called as follicular phase. There is a formation and maturation of Graafian follicles occurs. That's why that is called as follicular phase. So proliferation of endometrium is caused by which hormone? Is estrogen. Proliferation of endometrium is caused by which hormone? Is estrogen. This is very important point. Proliferation of endometrium. And in the middle of menstrual cycle, both FSH and LH, and FSH reaches to peak level in the middle of menstrual cycle, and rapid secretion of LH leading to maximum level during the midday, and that is called as LH induces rupture of Graafian follicle and by release of ovum. Ovum means secondary oocyte. That process is called as ovulation. So that is also assertion reasoning question given in a previous NEET examination. What is the question? Assertion. Assertion is given. Rupture of Graafian follicle and release of ovum occurs in the middle of menstrual cycle. That is assertion. Reason. LH attains peak level, and that is called as LH such. So both A and R are true. R is correct explanation. This is very important area. Why rupture of Graafian follicle and release of ovum occurs in the middle of menstrual cycle, 14th day of menstrual cycle? Due to peak level of LH. LH responsible for rupture of Graafian follicle and also responsible for ovulation. Formation of corpus luteum also caused by the LH. Corpus luteum produces a hormone known as progesterone, commonly called as pregnancy maintaining hormone. So that also very important point you should remember. So last phase, that is called as luteal phase, also called as secretory phase, it is fixed, that is 14 days. So luteal phase, in luteal phase, corpus luteum is formed and there is more secretion of progesterone. Corpus luteum secretes a large amounts of progesterone, which is essential for corpus luteum. Corpus luteum secretes large amounts of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of endometrium. This is very important point. So proliferation of endometrium is caused by the estrogen. Further thickening of endometrium is caused by the progesterone. Progesterone essential for maintenance of endometrium. In 2023 NEET examination, they have given progesterone is essential for maintenance of the endometrium. And endometrium is necessary for implantation of fertilized ovum and other events of pregnancy. During pregnancy, all events of menstrual cycle stop and there is no menstruation. This area is very, very, very crucial. Corpus luteum secretes large amounts of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of endometrium. Corpus luteum secretes large amount of progesterone. It also secretes small amounts of other hormones. Corpus luteum also secretes small quantities of estrogen, also secretes inhibin, also secretes relaxin along with the progesterone. This is very, very, very crucial. Corpus luteum secretes large quantities of progesterone, small quantities of estrogen, inhibin hormone, also produces relaxin hormone. Relaxin is the hormone produced by the corpus luteum of ovary and also secreted by the placenta. This is very important. In 2023 NEET examination, they have given assertion is in a question. Endometrium is necessary for implantation of fertilized ovum or implantation of blastocyst. That is, assertion is given. Reason is in the absence of fertilization, corpus luteum degenerates. That causes disintegration of endometrium is given. NEET 2023 NEET examination. Assertion: endometrium is necessary for implantation of fertilized ovum or implantation of blastocyst. Reason: in the absence of fertilization, corpus luteum degenerates. That causes disintegration of endometrium. Both A and R are true. R is not correct explanation. This is a very important point. The stoppage of menstrual cycle by the age of 50 years is called as menopause. This is also a very important point. So next, this area, this is also a very important area. So the process of fusion of sperm with ovum is called as fertilization. This is called as fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of sperm and ovum. And one more important one is why not all copulations leads to fertilization and pregnancy? This is another important assertion is in a question. Assertion: why not all copulations leads to fertilization and pregnancy? This is the assertion reason. Fertilization can occur only if the ovum and sperms are transported simultaneously to ampullary region. This is the reason. Answer: both the A and R are true. R is correct explanation of A. This is also another important point. Another assertion is in a question. Next, this area, this is also very important. At the time of fertilization, only one sperm can fertilize an ovum. Only one sperm can enter ovum. This is the assertion. So, in case of human beings, monospermy occurs. Monospermy means only one sperm enters into ovum at the time of fertilization. That is assertion. Reason: During fertilization, a sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida of the ovum or secondary oocyte and induces changes in the membrane that block entry of additional sperms. This is the reason. So answer both A and R are true. R is a correct explanation of it. Why only monospermy occurs? Only one sperm fertilizes the ovum in human beings. The reason is during fertilization, zona pellucida layer of the ovum induces changes in membrane that block entry of additional sperms. That is, entry of many sperms is prevented by which layer is zona pellucida. That reaction is called as zona reaction, which prevents polyspermy. Polyspermy is prevented by cortical reaction and zona reaction. This is also very important area. So this is the important area. Next one is after in human beings, after penetration of sperm into secondary oocyte, the second meiotic division is completed, resulting in formation of second polar body and haploid ovum or oocyte. This is also very important. So in female human beings, during oogenesis, when meiosis II is completed, means after penetration of sperm into cytoplasm of secondary oocyte, meiosis II is completed, releases a second polar body and a haploid ovum or oocyte. So this is also very important area. This is the development. Cleavage, repeated mitotic divisions. Repeated mitotic divisions is called as cleavage. The division of zygote is also called as cleavage. In human beings, what type of cleavage is holoblastic and unequal cleavage? Holoblastic unequal cleavage in human beings. What is the difference between cleavage and mitosis? In cleavage, nucleocytoplasmic ratio increases and O2 consumption is also more, and there is no growth phase in cleavage. In cleavage, nucleocytoplasmic ratio increases, there is no growth phase, and O2 consumption is more. So these are the differences between cleavage and mitosis. Cleavage is a rapid mitotic divisions. In zygote is called as cleavage. What type of cleavage in human beings is holoblastic unequal. After cleavage, embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres is called as morula. So embryonic stage with 8 to 16 blastomeres is called as morula. So 32 cells, maybe sometimes 32 cells also present in morula. Morula continues to divide and transform into blastocyst. The blastocyst contains blastomeres. Outermost layer of blastomeres are tropoblasts. Inner layer is called as inner cell mass. Inner cell mass forms embryo. That's why inner cell mass also called as embryoblast. Embryoblast is the other name for the inner cell mass. You should remember. And this blastocyst attaching to wall of uterus, attachment of blastocyst to the wall of uterus is called as implantation. Implantation leads to pregnancy. Implantation is promoted by which hormone? Is progesterone. Progesterone is a hormone which promotes implantation. Generally, implantation occurs 6th or 7th day after fertilization. So after fertilization, 6th or 7th day implantation occurs in female human beings. Implantation leads to pregnancy. So this is the embryonic development. Next, this is another important area in human reproduction topic. So placenta, what are the hormones produced by the placenta? That is given. Assertion reasoning questions. What is the assertion reasoning questions will be given is Placenta is a structural and a functional unit between developing embryo and maternal body. That is assertion. Reason. Chorionic villi, this is the reason. Chorionic villi and uterine tissue become interdigitated with each other and jointly forms placenta. This is the reason. Answer both the end are true or is correct explanation. So this is an important. Next, placenta secretes hormones like HCG, human chorion gonadotrophin, human placental lactogen, estrogen, progesterone. It also secretes placenta. HCG, HPL and relaxin are produced in women only during pregnancy. This is very, very important. HCG, HPL, relaxin. HCG, HPL, HCG human chorion gonadotrophin, HPL relaxin. Relaxin is the hormone produced by both the placenta, also by ovary. According to NCERT textbook, relaxin is produced by the ovary in later phases of pregnancy. Later phases of pregnancy, not in early stages of pregnancy. In later phases of pregnancy, ovary secretes a hormone, it's a peptide hormone known as relaxin. HCG, HPL, relaxin, all these are peptide or protein hormones. So relaxin is produced by both the ovary, also by placenta. Corpus luteum, suppose is given, relaxin is given, produced by the corpus luteum, that is also correct. Relaxin is produced by ovary is correct, placenta is correct, corpus luteum is also correct. It's a peptide or protein hormone. So this point is very important. Hormones, what are the hormones produced by placenta is HCG, HPL, estrogen, progesterone, relaxin. Relaxin help in relaxation of pelvic ligaments during childbirth. That is the function of relaxin hormone in human beings. So during pregnancy in human beings, some other hormones levels like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine also increases several folds in maternal blood. So this is very, very, very important statement. Estrogen, progesterone secreted by the placenta during pregnancy. Cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine not secreted by placenta. This is very careful, you should remember. Cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine are increased several folds in maternal blood during pregnancy. That is correct, but they are not secreted by the placenta. What are the hormones secreted by placenta during pregnancy? HCG, HPL, relaxin, estrogen, progesterone. This is very careful. Next, this is also an important question. FSH and LH. FSH and LH. These hormones are very low during pregnancy. During pregnancy, gonadotrophins like FSH and LH, they are low level. But cortisol, thyroxine, prolactin, estrogen, progesterone, these hormones levels are increases. Question will be given in already 2022 NEET examination. Question is given. Assertion is a question. What is that question is? Thyroxine levels increases several folds in maternal blood during pregnancy. That is assertion. Reason, pregnancy is characterized by metabolic changes. Pregnancy is characterized by metabolic changes. That is reason. Answer both A and R are true. R is correct explanation of A. Or this type of question, assertion. During pregnancy, hormones like cortisol, thyroxine and estrogen, progesterone, these hormones level increases several times in maternal blood. Reason, these hormones essential for supporting the fetal growth, metabolic changes in mother, and also maintenance of pregnancy. So supporting fetal growth is supported by the cortisol hormone. Metabolic changes in mother is caused by the thyroxine hormone, and maintenance of pregnancy is caused by the progesterone and estrogen. This is very important. So next, in embryo, inner cell mass differentiated into germ layers after implantation. This is also very important. Only after implantation, the inner cell mass differentiate germ layers. So next, one more important point is the inner cell mass. The inner cell mass contains stem cells which have the potency to give rise to all tissues and organs. This is also very important point. Assertion as in a question will be given. So this area is also very important. Next, timetable of pregnancy. You should remember timetable of pregnancy. In timetable of pregnancy, first month what happens, second month what happens, third month. By the end of first month, heart is formed. By the end of second month, the limbs and digits are formed. By the end of third month, that is by the end of 12 weeks, first trimester, major organ systems are formed. First movements of fetus in 5th month. So all these are very important. Parturition. Parturition is process of childbirth. So here this is also very important. Fetal ejection reflex. Fetal ejection reflex. This fetal ejection reflex is caused by fully developed fetus and placenta. So fully developed fetus and placenta causes fetal ejection reflex. This is very important. Fetal ejection reflex. So parturition and lactation, this is also a very important area. The process of childbirth is called as, the delivery of the fetus is called as parturition. The signals for parturition originate from fully developed fetus and placenta, which induce mild uterine contractions called fetal ejection reflex. This is very important. Fetal ejection reflex is caused by fully developed fetus and placenta, which induce mild uterine contraction. Which hormone play an important role in parturition is oxytocin. Oxytocin acts on uterine muscles. Which muscles? Smooth muscles of uterus. Oxytocin acts on smooth muscles of uterus, causes strong uterine contraction, which causes childbirth, also called as parturition. Oxytocin, also called as milk ejecting hormone, which help in ejection of milk, also called a birth hormone, because it help in childbirth by causing contraction of smooth muscles of uterus. It also causes labor pains. So oxytocin play an important role. So this parturition is an example of positive feedback caused by the oxytocin hormone. This is very important. Parturition is caused by the positive feedback mechanism of oxytocin hormone, not negative feedback, positive feedback. So next, lactation. What is lactation? What is lactation means the process of production of milk is called as lactation. So this point is very important. Mammary glands of female undergo differentiation during pregnancy and start producing milk towards the end of pregnancy by the process called as lactation is given. But actually this point is somewhat wrong. This is the correct line. What is this line is, in summary, when you observe mammary glands differentiate during pregnancy and secrete milk after childbirth. This is the correct statement. So while reading this summary is also very important. You should carefully observe summary and main content. According to main content, mammary glands produces milk at the end of pregnancy, but here Mammary glands differentiate during pregnancy and secrete milk after childbirth. This is very important. So next, one more important one is colostrum. Colostrum is contains several antibodies. What type of antibodies are IgA antibodies are present in colostrum? So this is also an important assertion question given in 2024 NEET examination. Assertion: breastfeeding during the initial period of infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing up a healthy baby. This is assertion. The reason colostrum which contains several antibodies, Ig antibodies, absolutely essential to develop resistance for newborn babies. This is the reason. Answer both A and R are true. R is correct explanation. The transfer of Ig antibodies from mother to newborn baby after birth is a type of natural passive immunity, not active immunity. It is an example of natural passive acquired immunity. You should remember. Colostrum contains what type of antibodies are Ig antibodies. So students, these are the important areas in human reproduction. While reading, you should be very careful. Some traps are there, some confusions are there, but while reading, so you should remember these points, what I was explained. So then you should be perfect. So good luck to all of you.